Hi y'all, welcome back to the channel. I've been building these batteries while I'm laid up with my after my ankle surgery, and this is 16th big battery that I've built. I've built a couple of smaller ones too, but this allowed me to get back into it and finish up building the total of 18 of these big batteries that I'm building. This is number 16, and I realized that even in that long video that I made about Let's Build a Battery, where I showed how to put all this together, there were a lot of things that I had to leave out just because there's a lot to it and I didn't want the video to go any longer. But I want to fill in the blanks for you and also show you what I've learned along the way. And even if you're not building your boxes, these wooden boxes like this, I'm going to show you some things that might help you out. And I'm going to also give you some of the fastener sizes and some of the techniques that you haven't seen along the way. I have 4 or 5, not constructing the boxes, but 4 or 5 videos about wiring the BMS and wiring the harness and all the different things that are involved in this. But let's move along and let me show you some of the things that I haven't shown you up till now. This is the T-class fuse that goes in the bottom, and this is 4 inches from the side and 2¼ inches from the front, and that puts it in a spot where you can get to it easily. And it is installed with 4 screws, and those screws are number 6 by 3/4 inch stainless screws that you can find anywhere. Amazon is where I found mine. And these are 3/8 inch lugs on that bus, and they get fastened down with, I just used an old school torque wrench, and they get fastened down to 20 foot-pounds, which is, about like 28 Newton meters or something like that. Now, this Anderson connector gets fastened in with these, they are 1¼ inch by number 10 screws is what works well for that. And there's 2 of them that hold them in. And then let me go ahead and put this cover piece back in place because we're about to finish this one up. I have gone ahead and wired up and installed the bus bars. These are the copper bus bars that have the number 4 millimeter tapped thread, and these are 4 millimeters, and I think those screws are 6 millimeters long. And they have a little split ring washer that hold the terminals so that you don't end up with these ring terminals in between the nut and the bus bar. Now, I've gone ahead and done all that. I have other videos that show how I prepare the terminals, how I polish the terminals and get the carbon paste on them to both protect them but also to help improve the quality of the joint. And then I've gotten all of those installed with a 6 Newton meter torque on each one, and I have attached all of the BMS sensing wires in the correct locations. And now we're going to go ahead and test to make sure that I got the correct wire on the correct battery. This is very important that you test this each time because you definitely do not want to take a chance on hooking up this BMS and fastening the battery to it without testing this. If you get one of these wires in the wrong location, one of these terminals, ring terminals, onto the wrong cell, you will definitely blow up your BMS, and that will not be covered under warranty. So we're gonna test each one of these. So I'm gonna put my negative pin on this first black wire, and then we're going to walk through and see what the voltage is on each one. 3.5. Come on. 7. 10.5. 14. The next two will be temperature sensing wires. Then we'll go to the next one. 17.5. 21. 24.5. and 28. Then we'll jump over to this next terminal, and the first wire is the black wire. That's the negative number 29, negative number 9 cell. It should be the same as the positive of the number 8 cell, and it is 28. And then we go 31.5, 35, 38.5, 42, 2 temperature sensors, 45.5, 49, 52.5, and 56. So now I have confirmed that every one of those ring terminals is not only on the right cell, but it also is making a good connection. So we're ready to turn this off. And then we can go ahead and connect this battery up. So I'm going to connect the terminals. Well, actually, I'm going to go ahead and connect up the BMS wires to the BMS. And this is a tedious job. I'm going to go ahead and pull that back off. It's a little easier to do it without that in my way. And it is a tedious job that requires that manual dexterity that everyone needs more of, especially me. You know, if I was one of these YouTubers that edits his videos, I could edit this part out, but I just need to be quicker. That one is clicked in. And I promise you, I'm never going to be one of those YouTubers that spends all his time editing videos, because I don't have time for all that. I've got stuff to do. And that one is clicked in. And now we're going to attach the wire for the display, and that one is now clicked in. I'm going to just set these temperature sensors aside for now, and I'm going to go ahead and clean up these wires now that I know that they're in the right place. And I have these cable tie clamps that are self-adhesive. And I'm going to go ahead and clean these wires up so that it's not such a mess. Again, I get these from Amazon, and I don't have any affiliate link for them, but they're easy to find. They're just adhesive cable tie clamps. And you can get a whole bunch of them real cheap. If you buy a bunch, they'll be cheap. All right, and then we'll just keep on coming around here and just bring the wires down and try to get them all into a neat and orderly fashion. And I don't want to go too crazy trying to make this all perfect, but I just want to neaten it up enough so that it's not like a rat's nest. Figure out where it makes the most sense to put that holder. Slide the cable tie in. And don't get too tight with it. You're just trying to get it to hold. On this side, I think I'm going to come from this end first. And these batteries, once you have done a few, they go a lot quicker. You can see that this is not taking a tremendous amount of time. And then we just want to see if we can get this neatened up just a little bit. Just get it to lay in here. And you only need a couple of these holders. You can use a few more cable ties to keep the wire bundled together, but you only really need a couple of these on each side. I'm really looking forward to commissioning this whole project. And I think what I'm going to do here is just use a couple more ties without the holders, just to bundle the wire a little bit. And if you're really fastidious and you want things to be super neat, well, you can definitely go to the expense and trouble to use wire looms and clean it up even better. But I just really want to get it good enough. G-U-D, good enough. And then come in here and clip all these extras off. And then the next thing we're going to do is fire this thing up. Let's put the positive and negative terminals on here. Now be very careful. Take your time when you're handling this 48 volts and you have tools. You want to make sure that you take your time on this part right here. Be very careful because this is 56 volts that you're dealing with. And if you short that out, it will definitely talk to you. Alright, now we're going to put a little, we're going to touch up the carbon paste on this connection, like so. I can go ahead and put this back on now, like so. That is so nice looking. We'll go ahead and put the negative terminal on. And you want to be very careful when you're working in this area. If that swung around and you had one, you could short across. That right there, that's 56 volts across that. You definitely want to be careful. All right. What do you think's going to happen when I flip the switch? Six Newton meters. There it is. This ratchet that I'm using is completely insulated. Alright, 6 Newton meters. It's all tied together. And when I hit this button, it's going to fire right up. Yep. Without fail, fires right up. This is a Seplos BMS. And I had, I built one extra battery because I had enough plywood to build an extra battery, and I knew that I had some extra cells. And so I went ahead and made an extra battery. And I needed to order an extra BMS. That's the only part that I didn't have. And so I ordered one of the new Seplos BMS that has a Bluetooth. And it arrived. I ordered it last Thursday, I think. I got notification that it shipped today from Hong Kong, and it was dropped off at my door this afternoon, so I think the notification was a little bit delayed, but I got it quickly, and it does look exactly identical to the BMS that I installed in that Apex battery box. If you haven't seen that video yet, I'm real excited about that, and we are working on the making those modifications to that box. I hinted around that we might be able to get some modifications made to that box, and those are being worked on to be implemented, so that's a good thing. Let's see what we've got here for voltage. 56 volts, just like we saw on the multimeter. And let's see what we've got for cell voltage. 3502, 3507 is the 3511, 3502 to 3511. That's how these cells have wandered down from when they were top balanced. When they were top balanced, they were at 3650, and now as they've wandered down, they've stayed pretty close together. 35, so really I guess the difference is 9 millivolts. So I would say that's great. When that settles on down a little bit further, they'll be just 1 millivolt apart. As you get higher in that curve, it becomes easier for tiny bits of state of charge to indicate vastly different voltage, especially when you're talking about millivolts. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the doors on this little booger. So when I built these doors, I built them so that the grain would carry through. So let's see here. Yeah, you can see the grain, the lines carry through. So now we've got some stainless steel hinges that we got from Boat Outfitters. And I'm going to install those and show you how I do that. Oh, I did not show you yet. Inside, not hinged yet, Ray. Inside, on the outside of the box, we have these RJ45 connectors. And what those do is I just used an extender, half-meter extender, and I ran it in and plugged it into the 485 connectors on the inside of the BMS. And that way, you can connect these up without having to run wires down through the lid. So I've extended those out through the face. And that's included, how I did that is included in the other videos, but I hadn't shown you those. And the way that those get attached is with these. What are the size of these? These are like little, I guess they're 3 millimeter by 1.25 inches bolts that go on the face of these, and if you screw them in, if you drill the hole the right size and you screw them in from the outside, they friction lock that into place because they're snug enough against the inside of that hole. I think that's an 1.125" hole, and they're snug enough to make it work. And I tested that to make sure that it would work, and it did, and so I've been doing it on every one. And it's just I think an elegant solution. Now here's how we put these hinges on. And it's another tricky little tool that's very helpful. And that is a self-centering piloting bit. And it's a tricky little thing that makes my life so much easier. I'm going to line up this face of the hinge with the outside of the wood. Just eyeballing it down there with an eagle eye. And I'm going to put this bit into the wood. You set the depth so you don't end up drilling through into your leg. You set the depth, and then I have these 1/2 inch by number 6, or yeah, 1/2 inch by number 6 screws. And I'm going to go ahead and plant one right there. And then I'll drill one on the other end. Eagle eye. Now as you do this, you want to make sure that you didn't screw it up. So you go back in and you check and you make sure that this face lines up with the face of that wood. And here it does. So because it does, I'm going to go ahead and drill all the rest of them now, all at one time. Uh-oh, that one wandered. If you have one that wanders on you, put it in last. Don't let it pull the hinge on you. Get the hinge completely secured and put the one that missed in last. This goes rather quickly. I know it might seem like a long, tedious process on the video, but it actually goes in here pretty quickly. How you doing, Rona? What are you looking for? What are you looking for, girl? I noticed that Rona likes to lick the tile floor. I couldn't figure out why. There's nothing on that floor for you to taste. And then I figured out, when Rona gets warm, she pants. Well, what's better than panting is to lick a cold tile floor and you cool the tongue off, and that's how dogs cool. And so she's just cooling herself off by finding cold pieces of tile floor to lick. Now I'm going to grab a piece of blue tape and I'm going to cover up this Anderson connector because I'm about to drill some holes here. Rona, what did you get? Come here. Come here. Come here. Give me that. No. Do not eat my cable tie. Silly dog. Children and dogs cannot play with small plastic parts. They don't digest. All right, same thing here. We're going to fasten the two ends first. Make sure we get them right before we go too far. Well, thanks for your help, Rona. Still lined up. I still like the way it looks. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one in. All right. Now I'll get down on my hands and knees and do the rest. This is really handy as a pocket on a shirt. And every once in a while, it gets a little bit of this birch hardwood clogging it up, and it needs to be cleared so that it will be ready for the next hole. Now I see that what I have created here is a little bit of hinge bind, and that happens sometimes. So here's how we're going to fix that. I'm going to take this hinge and I'm going to lay it in place right there, and I'm going to apply just a little bit of pressure. Now let's see. Perfect. No more hinge bind. All right. That's an old carpenter's trick there. Now, let's put the big door on. And this one will have one last step that it needs. And it's going to be the same process. Eagle eye that alignment. I'm going to need another battery. Ooh, almost dropped it down in the battery. Alright, let me go ahead and replace this battery. It's old, so it doesn't stay charged as long as it used to. And now, looks like it's aligned correctly. Drill all these holes right quick. Clean the wood chips out. Go ahead and vacuum up. Can you go ahead and vacuum that up, Rona? Oh, yeah, forgot. No opposable thumbs. Well, I'll keep you around anyway, Rona, because you're a pretty good girl. There's a couple more steps. We're going to put some cabinet door bumpers on here so that when you close the cabinet door, the doors to this box, they don't slam. And then we're going to put a limiter so that when the door opens, this big door, it doesn't put stress on the hinge. And I'll show you what I use for that. These hinges, these stainless steel hinges from boat outfitters, they will cut them to length for you, but they don't do a great job. Little curve to the cut right there, and I don't care. I have never had anybody say, wow, that box has a crooked cut on the hinge. People see what they see, and if you don't tell them, they won't know, because they're looking at the beauty of it. Looks pretty good. Yep, and the reveal looks good on the door. All right. Can you imagine if you marked these holes and tried to do it by eye? This little tool sure does make it easier, even if I do have to clear the wood chips out of it every once in a while. And this one tool has drilled hundreds and hundreds of screw holes. All right, we're almost done with this one, y'all. And then I'm going to use the energy in this one because I don't want to leave it fully charged. So I'll use that 3,000 watt inverter that I have a video about that I hang on the side of this. And I will use that to drain about 90 or 100 amp hours out of this 280 amp hour battery. And that will leave it at a good state of charge for storing until it gets used. And I'll take that energy and I'll put it into top balancing the next batch of cells. That's battery number 16 right there. Actually, this is battery number 16 because I'm counting that Apex battery. And so this is the next to the last one. I'm sorry. This is the second to the last one. That's the next to last one. I got one more batch of cells to top balance, and I'll use the energy in this one to do that. All right, now I want to take some cabinet door bumpers and put on here. And these are very thin cabinet door bumpers. And then there'll be 3 on this big door. Now, the last thing I want to do is, this is a heavy door, and when it lays back, it puts some stress on there. And when I was working as a builder, I ordered some stuff from Lifepo4, and they sent me a package of 18 of these that didn't go with anything. And it wasn't worth enough to send back to them, so I threw them in a box. And they are perfect for doing this, because this is going to be how I keep the door from breaking itself off of its hinge. And the way that works is, grab my measuring. I'm going to come over here 4 inches. And then I'm going to come over here 3.5 inches. By 3/4. And I'm going to drill my holes. I'm going to put this one on here. Pretty snug. And when this opens, it'll hold it. But what you want to do is you want to twist it so that as it closes, it doesn't close inside. Like you see, that's not good, right? So you want to put a twist on it so that it doesn't do that. Look at that. Isn't that nice? So you just have to try it out, see how it works. And then you want to tighten it up in the direction it's going to be. And then it opens and closes. It's down below the surface here, and it works perfectly. All right, this box is done, except to put a label on it. And this is number 15. Go ahead and peel this blue tape off. This is number 15. And we're done. This battery is finished and ready for business. So, thank you for sticking with me. I hope you liked the video. And if you did, I hope that you will hit that thumbs up and like that video. And I hope you're already subscribed. I'm going to make a few more of these videos that help give you the last little bits and pieces of knowledge that I have about the batteries. And then we're going to go ahead and, as soon as I get out of this boot, I'm going to go ahead and get out there and finish up the solar shed. All that equipment's in there and it's just ready to be the last little pieces of the puzzle put together and fire this thing up. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you learned something. Have a good day.